Well, welcome back to our next edition of What's Up America with Mike Cara. As always, proudly broadcasting from Coe, Florida, USA, planet Earth. And my guest today is a great singer, songwriter, musician, performer, Tex Porter from New Bra- Braunfels, Texas. Want to
You
get
got
that
it. You got it. New
right
Braunfels,
there.
Texas.
Yeah, and Tex, it's such a pleasure and honor that you could join me today. And before we get started, it's interesting because tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I understand that you're
Yes,
a
sir.
proud veteran. Thank you so much for your service. And if you don't mind, before we get into the music, could you tell us a little bit about, your military service?
Yes, sir. I'd be pleased to. I went into the U.S. Navy in 1982 and was on a ship, the USS Shasta, for several years, and we steamed around the world. And had a bunch of buddies in the Navy, and it was peacetime. We went everywhere. We went all over California and Hawaii and the Philippines and Guam and Africa, you name it, Singapore. And it was a great experience for me. I really enjoyed it. And when I got out of active duty, I stayed in the reserves until my wife, Amy's dad, told me I better get out of the service now because I was getting married. So yeah, I enjoyed my time in the Navy. And I'm a proud veteran and I love America. Yes, sir.
Well, great. That sounds great. So let's start and talk a little bit about your musical career. And so, how did you get started in music?
Well, that's an interesting story if you got a little time. When I was small, I grew up in Houston, and basically my emotional escape. I'm from a very dysfunctional family. It was very violent and pretty crazy when I was a kid. My only escape was music and sports. So I loved watching music and listening to music and things like that. I would sing in the mirror when I was a kid and, listen to 45s. When I was 14, all the friends in my neighborhood and I started a rock and roll band. And by the time I was 15, we used to play in front of like 1,000 people all the time, pretty regularly. And we would get $51 bills each gig. And we loved it, because I guess 1975, that was a lot of money. But we loved the Doobie Brothers and Bad Company and ZZ Top and, Ted Nugent and all those 70s bands. So that's how I got my start. And I loved singing. Most of the time I was the lead vocalist in this rock and roll band, and I loved singing, and I was on the bass guitar. So when this band broke up, we graduated from high school and everybody went to college. I couldn't sing anymore. So, I had to learn how to play the 6-string guitar. And so I learned how to play the 6-string guitar just so I could sing. And because I love singing. That's my favorite. I love singing. It comes straight from my heart, and I enjoy it very much. But yeah, I started in a rock and roll band in 1974, 1975 when I was 14, 15 years old, and then played pretty much the rest of my life. Yes, sir. That's how I got my start. And I wrote my first song when I was about 20 years old.
Oh, well, that's great to hear, Tex. So it seems like your music career and Navy career kind of overlapped. I mean, when you were in the Navy, did you do anything musically or?
Well, it's funny you ask. Thank you. I did. I would go and when we hit, the shore, there was talent shows, and I would play talent shows, around California. And then also I wrote several songs on that ship in a fan room. I would go sit by myself, like in a, I don't know, big steel room. And I would have my guitar and I would write songs. I wrote Olongapo Cowboy, which Olongapo city is in the Philippines. And Subic Bay, there's a base in the Philippines, Subic Bay base. And so, me being from Texas, I'm the Olongapo Cowboy, and it's about my time in the Philippines. And then I had some buddies that were real nice, and they were from California. And I always used to ask them, why don't you just drink alcohol? But they always wanted to do the drugs, you know? And I didn't do drugs, I just drank. And they got kicked out of the Navy. So I wrote a song about called Mr. Coca-Cola Man on that ship. And it's about addiction, you know. And when I was missing my buddies, you know, Sanzo and Sellers. But yeah, I just, you know, whatever happens. I wrote another song about Africa too, you know, but I wrote a lot of songs on that ship in the Navy, and I did get to play music in the Navy. Yes, sir.
Oh, great. So now, Tex, we want to talk, a little bit about your, original music, and we'll talk about the songs in a little bit. But first of all, again, I never like to pigeon any hole anyone, and kind of put anyone in a corner. But let's just say if I, was coming down the street and I said, "Hey, Tex, how do you describe your music?" I mean, is there a certain way you describe it?
Well, that's such a good question, Mike. Thank you very much. I have to ask people what my genre is, and here's what they say. They say it's country and Americana now. That's what they say it is. So yes, because I kind of agree with you. Some of my music is just folky, like folk. And then some of it's blues. But, when I play a CD for somebody, they say I'm Americana and country. Yes, sir.
Oh, so I mean, you being in Texas, you feel that there because a lot of I've interviewed people and they say, there's that Texas sound. I mean, do you think that you have I don't know what it is, but that kind of Texas sound or something that's unique to Texas or
Yes, sir. I don't think I can help it. You know what I mean? I was born here and I was raised here. I was born in Houston, but my parents moved to Conroe, which is kind of country, and it certainly was in the 70s. So I was kind of like a redneck hippie. And, but yes, sir, when you're born and raised in Texas and you play anything but rock, I think it comes out that I'm Texan. Yes, sir.
Great. So now for you, Tex, what inspires you, to write music? I mean, is there certain things, certain times, or I mean, where do you think, songwriting, generates for you from?
I believe that it's always been love. Um, I think I'm a romantic, and I love romance. And when I was younger, it was love lost or looking for love or things like that in my songs. And I've been married now 29 years to my awesome, beautiful wife, Amy. And so she's kind of my muse now. I think of my wife, I think of my family. Um, yeah, I think of my kids. And some I just totally make them up. They're complete fiction. Some songs are just made up stories that are fun. And but the deeper songs, my muse is my wife. I love her very much, and when I think of her, wonderful things come out. And you know, I also feel like sometimes, Mike, like I don't write these songs; like they just kind of come through me. I know that sounds a little artistic-y, but my dad was a writer and my mom was an artist. So I am a little bit flaky, I guess. But I believe that God gives me songs. They're not Christian songs, but like something comes through me and to me, and then I'm just I just write it down and play it. And most of my songs are that way. A few like Cowboy Life and Granddaddy's Farm, I sat down and tried to write those. You know, like I can write songs. If I sit down and I say I'm going to write a song, I can. But I like the ones that just come through me from somewhere else. Yeah.
Oh, great. So I wanted to ask you, Tex, now, you mentioned the songs, a lot of them come through you. Sometimes you write them. But my question is, how much does the song change when you initially get it down till you record it? I mean, is there a lot of changes, or once you've had something off to the recording studio, or?
Okay. I first write them. Okay. And then I play them several times, and some words, like a word here and a word there, will change to something different. And then I play them at a gig 2 or 3, 4 times, and they may just change a little bit again. And then that's it, as far as I'm concerned, forever. But then I go to record, and of course, the fellow recording it, he's got some different ideas. So they change a little bit more when they get on my CD. And I go to these songwriter classes, and I'm going to admit to you, Mike, that I'm not real good at changing songs after they're written, but I'm trying to learn. I'm open to that. But to me, art is like once you paint it, it's done. That's what came out. And the story that you're telling needs a certain amount of words to tell the story. I have heard from some people, and they're way bigger and better than me, and it's great advice, but they say make a song like 2.5 minutes, and then when you go into production, it'll end up 3.5 minutes. Most of my songs are like 5 minutes. I'm not real good at changing my songs after they're written, to answer your question, but I'm trying to learn, and I'm open to it.
Oh, yeah. So you mentioned, Tex, that you do, perform these songs, before, you record them. But then after you, record them with the new changes, do you use those changes, or does sometimes someone say, hey, you changed that song, go back to the old way, or?
If somebody has a good suggestion on a change, I will sing it at gigs, the way that the words that they came up with. That's very seldom. And, I can only think of a couple of things that I've changed, because I'm kind of a stickler to, sticking with my song.
Oh, okay, Tex. So I want to talk about, some of these nice songs our audience has been listening to, and you can tell us a little bit, the stories of them. So the first song we have here is Cowboy Life. Can you tell us about this song?
Yes, sir. When I was young, like I say, I anything to escape the house. And I was kind of big. I grew fast. So I was good at football. And I was a defense. I tackled, tackled people. So people used to get me to work at their ranch, and they'd say, hey man, tackle down those calves and hold them down. So I'd, chase after these calves and tackle them down. And I really enjoyed that. And I have great memories about that as one of my first jobs, working on a ranch, tackling calves. And that's kind of where Cowboy Life came from. It's about me. But then, of course, I use some imagination, and, Cowboy Life, You could also think of that Billy Crystal movie, City Slickers, and the old ranch boss, and they're working on the ranch and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So some of this stuff I make it up. The ranch boss is not real. The man who owned the ranch was a doctor, you know, and staying at night by the fire trying to learn how to play the harmonica, that's made up. And but a very fun song for me. People seem to really enjoy it. And it is about me when I was 13 years old, working on a ranch, wrestling down calves.
Oh, okay. And now another song we have here, we mentioned this before, Granddaddy's Farm. Can you tell us about this one?
Yes, sir. I have a son-in-law, and his whole kinfolk, they're all from Brownwood, Texas. And they tell me about it like it's real hillbilly and redneck and all this kind of stuff. So I've completely made up that whole song. I don't know if that's what people want to hear, but I don't. My dad really didn't have a farm, and he didn't have a barn, and I didn't learn how to dance at my granddaddy's barn. But very fun song, and it's my imagination of like Brownwood, Texas, hillbilly, get-togethers at the big barn, and they got the fiddles and the foot stomping and the stand-up bass and all that kind of stuff, and everybody's just having a hoedown, and it's a happy song. I enjoy it very much, but my granddad didn't have a farm, and I didn't learn how to dance in his barn.
Oh, well, okay, here. And another song is Till I Die. Can you tell us about this one?
Yes, sir. That's one that kind of just came to me, and that's about my wife and my relationship. It kind of is like, to me, a guy, and he's contemplating his life. He's by himself. He's got his boots and his jeans on. He's out in the country, and he walks up to a barbed wire fence, and he's just kind of looking at the cattle in the field. And it's a big field with grass, and the wind is blowing the grass. And he's just kind of thinking and having a cold beer. And that starts out with the first verse. The second verse is like, and then the chorus. The chorus is like, my love is steadfast. I'm here forever. Sometimes are fantastic. And every now and then we have a disagreement, but I ain't going nowhere, because when I put on this ring, I promised I'd be here forever, you know? And the second verse talks about, yeah, there's other pretty women. I see pretty women all around me. Some they say they like me, some they don't. Some just want to sneak around the corner. I bite my lip and tell them that I won't, you know. And then sometimes you and me, we're as happy as can be, and sometimes we don't quite see eye to eye. That don't mean a thing, because when I put on this ring, I swore that I would love you till I die. And then the third verse talks specifically about me and Amy. We've been married 29 years now, and we have 3 grown kids and 2 grandkids and another one on the way, buddy. And we're very proud of what we've done together. The last verse says 29 good years and still we're counting. Somehow raised 3 kids along the way. Sorry, I don't look the way I used to. I just can't seem to stop these passing days. And, it's just very specific about the way I feel about, everything we've done. And, when you've been married 30 years, well, 29 years, you don't look the same as you looked 29 years ago. So this is just, my song to my wife. And it just means, yeah, I'm going to always be here. I ain't going nowhere. And that's what it means to me.
Oh, great. So yeah, those are some great songs there. So Tex, I want to talk a little bit about, where you're, performing. So I mean, right now in where you are in Texas, do you have an opportunity to do a lot of live shows?
Yes, sir. I do about 4 shows a week. Um, maybe 16 gigs a month, and I really enjoy it. I play all around New Braunfels, Texas, Green, Texas, which is a tourist area. So's New Braunfels, kind of. We've got rivers, and everybody goes tubing and enjoys the rivers very much around where I live. And then there's a cool town where a bunch of artists live and musicians. It's called Wimberley, Texas. And they seem to really love me too in Wimberley. So I play San Antonio, Austin, New Braunfels, Green, Wimberley mostly, which is in, I guess, South Central Texas, Mike.
Great. So yeah, you have a chance to, do some traveling then, huh?
Yes, a little bit. And my wife always goes with me. She's a trooper. She always goes with me, so I don't have to be all by myself. They call this the hill country, Mike. I live in the hill country in Texas, the Texas hill country.
Oh, so I mean, for you, Tex, performing in your local area, is there a lot of different variety? I mean, do other artists perform the same music as you, or do they have where they try to have different genres the same night at a venue?
In Texas, my feeling is that a lot of people do the same thing as me. The difference I would say about me is my voice, my singing voice, and then I throw some of my originals in there, and of course that separates me from all the other people that are doing the same thing as me. It's very popular to play solo around here because, quite frankly, the bars and venues don't pay much, so it's not really enough to pay a band. You know what I mean. So pretty much everybody who can sing and play a few chords on the guitar is a singer-songwriter around here, and that includes me. And but yes, a lot of people do the same thing as me. Yes, sir. They just don't have the same singing voice, and they don't have the same personality, and they don't have the same songs.
Oh, so I mean, is you do covers then?
I do some covers. Yes, sir. I do. Would you like to know which ones, or
Yes, I
kind of
would.
the type? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I like, one of my favorites is I sing "Landslide" by Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, and I love that song. And then I do some Waylon Jennings, and I do some Willie Nelson. I do some Turnpike Troubadours. If you've ever heard of them, they're very popular around here. And but I do Gary P. Nunn. If you've ever heard of Gary P. Nunn. Now, Mike, around here, we're very proud of a couple of people. One is Towns Van Zant. He was a singer-songwriter from the Houston area. And so I do some Towns Van Zant. He's a famous singer-songwriter around here. And then John Prine, if you've ever heard of John Prine, Angel from Montgomery. I love
Yeah.
that song. I do that one. And then let's see. That's all I can think of right now. But I also do some Jimi Hendrix, and I do some Traffic, and I do some Blind Faith, and I do some Buffalo Springfield, and some America from the old days, Horse with No Name. But just stuff that I love. If I love it, I'll play it. And then I'll try to do 3 covers to 1 original, so that people love hearing a song they've heard before, and they get a little bit bored if it's a bunch of songs they hadn't heard before in their life. all in a row. You know what I mean?
So I mean, when you do these venues, over and over again, do a lot of the crowd then, really like your original music, or do you ever get requests like you're gonna make sure you play Granddaddy's Farm or something like that? Or
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, I want to, I want to, I don't mean to brag about myself, so I want to be careful, what I say, but yes, sir. People are liking my songs very much. They like Cowboy Life. They like Mr. Coca-Cola Man. They like Granddaddy's Farm, and a one called Forever Love. They. I'm blessed. People seem to like my original stuff very much. Now, I pick good covers too, and so they do say, I love your song list. Your list of songs that you do is like perfect for around here. And so, I'm kind of proud of the songs I picked on my song list too, that are covers, because not everybody does exactly the same covers.
great. Tex, I wanted to talk, a little bit about, as far as people, finding out more about you and your social media. But first of all, we mentioned that you've been, doing this for 46 years. So you've seen, a lot, and you've seen the invention of the internet. So, I mean, for you, has the internet been, the social media, has it been a big tool? I mean, how did you do marketing 46 years ago for yourself?
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Um, Back in the old days, you walked into a club. I remember when I was 15, we played at a place called the Warehouse, and it was, I was 15 years old, and we're at this rock and roll club with all these grown-ups, and they're dancing and the place is packed. And then we'd take a break and we'd walk off the stage and they'd go, hey man, that was awesome. I go, thank you very much, thank you very much. We'd walk up to the bar and go, cherry 7-Up please, because we were only 15 and we got all the free cherry 7-Up we could drink. So we thought that was really badass, because we could drink free cherry 7-Up. But yes, things have changed. I remember 15 years old meeting the manager of the Warehouse, and the whole band is there together, and we had to play some songs for him. And then he decided we could be the house band. But now it's pretty interesting. You can't, I'm learning, you can't really have any opinions on Facebook or you can't say an opinion, because then everybody doesn't like you anymore. So you got to not think and not have any opinions, and you just put where you're playing next, and that's it. And but you send people. I do texporterband.com, and I ask people, I just say, hey, I'm Tex Porter from New Braunfels, and could I please play at your venue? I've been doing this 46 years. Everybody seems to like me, and here's texporterband.com. You can check me out. And it seems like I'm having a positive response doing that. Internet is new to me. I'll say my age. I'm 61. So this is my first time to Zoom ever in my lifetime, Mike, right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've never used Zoom. My wife did it for me. Amy did it for me. So here I am. But yeah, I'm not real good at social media, and I'm not real good at the internet. And I can see easily that other people really are. Usually the younger people, they're very good at making those fancy memes, with all the little pictures in it. And Mine are just kind of like a picture of me that Tex Porter at the Phoenix Saloon, but I'm not real good at it, my friend. I'm not real good at internet or social media or any of that, but I have seen how it changes everything. It really does. And I don't know how to explain that, but big difference, big difference. Yeah. You do it from, your bedroom instead of like driving to the club and playing music for the manager, which we used to have to do.
Wow. So yeah, that's great. So Tex, I mean, you haven't done any of these Facebook live shows then, or?
I did a few of those. It's interesting. It was fun. It was fun. Uh, I would not say I was real good at it, but I learned some cool things, and they got better and better as I went along. But what happened was during the coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it there. First, it was one person would do like a Facebook Live, and then like two people do Facebook Live, and then pretty soon, like it was 40 people all on Monday night and 40 people all on. So, it everybody went to Facebook Live all at the same time, so it kind of watered it down. But that was fun, and I enjoyed it, and it was a way to perform for people. And while people were stuck in their houses, I enjoyed like getting to play for them so they could be happy and kind of forget all the stressful stuff that's going on.
Oh, great. So Tex, I wanted to ask you a question. Many years ago, I think it was like 35 years ago, I went into a place, we went on vacation to Texas, and we went to a place called Gillies in Houston. And I was just wondering, is that place still there, or do you play there?
Man, yes, sir. I've got an original 1970s poster, Gillies nightclub, on my wall in my bedroom. I'm not really out in the fall scenery yet. This is a background, but I'm in my bedroom.
Right.
But yeah, I've got a cool picture of a poster, big poster. It's probably worth money because it's old as hell. But yes, Gillies was the biggest nightclub in Texas, very popular in the late 70s and through the 80s. And they filmed John Travolta movie, and I can't remember what the heck it was called, but John Travolta was in a cowboy, Urban Cowboy. They filmed Urban Cowboy there, and it was very popular. But they've since closed that down. But supposedly there's another new one in Vegas or somewhere. I think there's, old Mickey Gillies still alive, and he's uh, got some other Gillies clubs around. But yeah, that was a cool place, huh?
Yeah, that was really fun. Okay, Tex. Now, as far as if people want to, help support you, well, let's talk about your music. I mean, do you have CDs? Do you have digital download? How could everyone purchase your wonderful music?
Well, thank you very much. I do have texporter.com to check me out. And the way I hear it through the people that, produce all my CDs is my CDs are available on the internet, Spotify, CD Baby, iTunes, Apple Music. Like my stuff is everywhere. And I, I'd be so pleased, and it would mean a lot to me if people listen to my music and download it, and I hope they like it. Everybody else seems to really like it, and I'm always up for feedback. On Facebook, I'm just Tex Porter. You can find that, and then you can find Tex Porter Singer-Songwriter on Facebook, and that's me. On Instagram, I'm Tex Porter Music or something like that. And I'm pretty active on social media just because I get bored when I'm not playing gigs.
Right, right, yeah.
So anybody can talk to me anytime, probably. Yeah. and hear my music. Anywhere where you like to get your music from, download your music from, I'm there. And it's Tex Porter. And my first album is called To My Lady. My second album is called Cowboy Life.
Oh, great, great. And they could purchase both those albums. I mean, a physical
Yes,
CD.
sir. Yes, sir. They can purchase physical CDs if they'd like, and they can get those from me too if they'd like. But you can also, I think a lot of people these days download their music onto their phone. You can do that too. Yeah, anywhere you download your music, you can get me.
Oh, great. Okay, Tex, I really we can talk all day.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's
I
just
feel like I could talk
wonderful.
to you all day, Mike. You're a
I
very nice fella.
want to go, but yeah, I guess we could wrap this up. But one thing before we go, we wanted to, I think you explained it, but could you explain where you're, located? I mean, in Texas, in case somebody may be passing through and maybe they'd like to listen to your music.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'd love to. Thank you, sir. I am right in between Austin and San Antonio in Texas on I-35. Right smack dab in the middle of Austin and San Antonio is New Braunfels, Texas. And I'm all around here. I'm playing all the time, like I say, 4 times a week, all around New Braunfels, Green, which is a German word. It's spelled Gruene, Green, Texas, very popular place. Wimberley, Texas, very popular place. San Antonio, and Austin. I'm in Austin now. I'm venturing out a little bit. But yes, sir, they seem to like me around here, and I sure do love them. And I'm very grateful to you, Mike, for calling me up and asking me if I'd do this. I've never done an interview before, so that was really fun, buddy.
Okay, Tex. Yeah, yeah, it really was. Well, we appreciate your time. And any final other thoughts or any other things you'd like to mention before we go here?
Support your local musicians that aren't famous. We love music just as much as the rich guys, and we'll play for you with all the heart we got. And thanks for being here listening today.
Okay, that sounds great. My guest is Tex Porter from New Braunfels, Texas.
You
Want to
got it,
get
man.
there, a great singer-songwriter, musician, performer. And you've been listening to What's Up America with Mike Cara. And please catch us again next time.
Thank you.